Friendships. They hold such a big place in our lives, and they change as we grow older. They change as our lives change and as our friends' lives change. I really believe the saying, you are who your friends are. You are who you surround yourself with. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how friendships can really reflect the type of person that you are. How friendships can change and how some serve us and help us grow and others, maybe it's time to let go. Welcome back to the Self-Love Archives. My name is Julia Salvia. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining and welcome. I'm so excited that you've found the archive and are here to join us on this episode today about friendships. Self-love goes way beyond ourselves, way beyond the rainbows and the butterflies and all of that good, positive, happy vibe type of stuff. It goes way beyond self-care. It goes way beyond the physical. So here at the Self-Love Archives, we talk about the inner circle of self-love, but also the collective of self-love. Everything on the inside and the outside. The topic of friendships has come up for me a lot in my conversations with my friends, but also just as a topic of reflecting for me. If I'm talking about anything, I'm usually talking about relationships or dating, or I'm talking about my family. And those are like the main topics for me. And I think because if there's going to be drama in my life in any retrospect, it's going to be in one of those two categories. And that's just being really blunt, really honest. If we're looking at it from an astrology perspective, I have Pisces in the 7th house, a stellium in Pisces in the 7th house, mind you, which means I have more than one placement in Pisces in the 7th house of relationships. So relationships and one-on-one relationships and partnerships are a really heavy theme in my life. As for my 4th house of home and family, that's where Sagittarius sits. Now, I don't have any placements in Sagittarius, but that doesn't mean I don't still have Sagittarius in my 4th house of home and family. Oh, if there's one thing that Sagittarius is that Sagittarius is petty, okay? There isn't one Sagittarius heavy person that I've met that isn't petty. And they give off this very like calm, cool, collected, very monotonely chill energy from the forefront. So if you've ever met a Sagittarius, take that into consideration and look at them and be like, are they speaking to you with like, if you know them, it might be a little more difficult, but if you don't know them, they're speaking to you in a very, very monotone, very like non-emotional manner. But I have those two signs in those two placements, both ruled by Jupiter, matter of fact, now that I'm sitting here thinking about that. But in saying that, friendships for me sits with Cancer. Now, if you know anything about Cancer is just this very, very motherly figure. It's very feminine. It's ruled by the moon. It's very emotional. If you want to do a little deep dive into what sign sits in your 11th house of friends, make sure to go and check out your astrology chart. See where the 11th house is for you. If you're a Virgo rising like me, you are also a Cancer in the 11th house. Now, I also don't have any placements in the 11th house, but I am still a Cancer in the 11th house of friends. So I notice that I'm very motherly when it comes to a lot of my friends. I am always trying to take care of my friends. I'm always trying to welcome them in as if they were, I guess, in the same way that you would treat like children. not in this like you're a child, I'm an adult kind of way, but more so like everyone's welcome here. Everyone's allowed to be here. I want to be surrounded by all of these people. I want to take care of you. I want to help you. I want to nurture all of my friendships. But there is something about me and friendships that involves absolutely no drama. And even if there's like a little bit that comes up, I'm like, I hash that out or I let it go really fast. As for relationships and family, that is not the case. But with friendships, I tend to see that I am a much different person than I am in the other relationships. I preface with this so that you can get a better idea of how friendships sit for me. Friendships are so important to me. My friends, to me, are my family. My friendships are the people that I surround myself with, the people that I want to surround myself with. But it's a long time coming that I got to this place of having these types of friendships. It took a really long time to be in this place where I surround myself with really amazing people and to confidently say that I love the circle, the friendships that I surround myself with. When I was little, all that I ever wanted, and even this still reigns true today, all that I ever wanted was a best friend. You know, you're in elementary school and high school and college, and you're going through all of these transitions in life, or you're not going through these normalized transitions in life. You're going through just, growing up. I am sure I am not the only one out there that just craved having a best friend. I found that I ended up in a lot of trio friendships of like 3 people. We'd be in gym class, and all 3 of us would be in that class together. And the teacher would be like, okay, everybody partner up. And I found that I was always the last one to be picked. I wasn't picked by the trio of friends. They chose each other, and then there was me. So it was very difficult for me to feel prioritized and feel wanted in a friendship when I always felt secondary to another person in my friendships. Not only did I have difficulty making friends when I was younger, but I had difficulty keeping friends when I was younger. And that was because every single summer we would move to our beach house and we wouldn't come back. I wouldn't be able to go to pool parties or barbecues or hang out with any of my friends during the summer. This island that we're on felt similar to that of a jail cell in a lot of ways. I'm thrown into all of this newness of, okay, here you go make friends in this new town, in this new place. And it was difficult. I felt like I missed out on a huge part of connecting with my friends or being able to hold on to friendships with the friends that I made in school back home because I was away for the entire summer. So while they're connecting with their friends and building on their friendships, I'm over here not able to talk to them or call them. That was how my friendships had looked throughout elementary school and middle school and the beginning of high school. It was so wish-washy. So if making friends wasn't already difficult for me as a younger teenager, it got more difficult as I entered high school. In the beginning of high school, I found myself in a really, really horrible relationship that essentially took all of the people that I cared about away from me because this person made me believe that these people weren't good for me, that they weren't treating me appropriately. This is a story for a whole nother episode, but it's important to the premise of these friendships when I was younger because during that period of time, that like 2 years, I really didn't have any friends besides this person. I was in this place before this happening where my friendships were kind of teetering on, okay, I'm not being prioritized by these people who I prioritize. So the friendships kind of trickled away when this guy came into my life. Towards the end of that relationship, I did connect with someone who did then become my best friend. And here's something that I noticed when I was younger. I'm hoping that you can relate to this, and I'm also hoping that you cannot relate to this because it's a horrible feeling to feel secondary to another friend, but it's also even more horrible to feel secondary to your friend's friend who is also someone that bullies you. The people that come to my mind who are my closest friends throughout middle school and high school, the friend that was my friend seemed to at some point then become friends with a group or a couple of other people. And those couple of other people were so unkind to me, were so cruel, and were so mean to me. I almost think that I have completely blocked that part of my life out. I can easily name every single person for you that has ever bullied me or has ever said mean things to me. And sometimes it's not even the knowledge of like what exactly they said, but knowing that they're saying something about you to this person that's supposed to be your friend. And it seemed as though that kept happening every time I would get close to someone. They would then get close to a bunch of other people, and all of those other people weren't so kind towards me. And then my friend would, at the end of the day, prioritize them and hang out with them before they would hang out with me. And then our friendship kind of just faded. Actually, a couple of years ago, one of those people, one of those girls who did say some not so nice things to me in high school and just wasn't a nice person to me in high school, reached out and apologized. When that happened, I kind of came to the realization that, oh wait, I actually was bullied pretty badly. I call it quiet bullying. It's quiet bullying because it wasn't directly, like no one was throwing anything in my face. No one was like saying anything directly to me. It was just the whispers and like the gut feeling that you know someone is speaking about you, that you know someone is talking about you, that you know someone doesn't really want to be your friend anymore because of the things that these other people are saying about you. That feeling of being in the same room with all of these people, knowing that they don't want you there. Oof, quiet bullying. And I've witnessed a lot of quiet bullying in a lot of my younger teenage years. I appreciated her apology. I think I was just so way beyond past everything that had happened in high school because, I mean, I'm almost 30 now, so way past it. But it was very interesting and I think kind in a way for her to reach out after such a long time and say something. But it was almost like a shock to me because I was like, oh my God, wait. You're so right. I've been through so much trauma and back since then that period of my life kind of just like went to the back of my head. And I wouldn't say let it go, but I definitely never, brought it to the forefront and journaled about it and healed from it and truly resolved how I felt about that bullying. At some point, we always want to be this person who has so many friends. You know this person, you know that person, I know that person, I'm friends with that person. I want to be a bridesmaid in everyone's wedding. And that has changed for me a lot. Whenever I have parties now and invite all of my friends, it's such a wide array of people. It's such a wide array of friendships. I never had that friend group type of friendship. I never had a ton of friends. I always just had this little group of people who were my friends. And that was it. And that was really all I needed. I didn't need this huge, giant group of friends. And I hope you know that you don't need that either. You don't need this huge, giant group of friends. You don't need to be surrounded by tons and tons of people. You just need this little small circle of people who respect you, appreciate you, and want to be there for you, and vice versa. When I moved back to Jersey in 2019, around that time, I had made a lot more friends. I made some friends from the gym. I made some friends from just living in the area. I got closer with people who I knew from college that had lived in the area. I basically got comfortable in Monmouth County, New Jersey, and made friends with the people that were here. If I think about all of the friends that I have made throughout my 20s. There are a couple different ways that I made these friends. When we're in high school and elementary school and middle school and college and whatnot, it seems to be a lot easier to make friends because you have all of these people in this area. You're constantly seeing them. You're in the same class as them. You're seeing them all the time. So it makes it easier to become friends with these people because of just that locational convenience. But the minute that we leave, we go into the quote unquote real world and we discover that it's fucking difficult to make friends. In your 20s, you are still fully becoming the truest version of yourself. And listen, if I was 22, I would not be telling you that right now. I would be like, I am fully myself. People always talk about how your 20s are this exploration of who you truly are. Like, I am fully myself. And that wasn't a lie. Like, I really was truly like this very developed version of myself at 22, but I am so different now at 29 than I was when I was 22. So don't knock it until you are basically past your 20s and you realize. I think one of the biggest things that you could do to try to make friends in your 20s is to actually put yourself out there. I know, that's something that you hear with dating, but it's the same thing. Creating a relationship with someone involves putting effort and putting time into that. And if you feel in your gut that you don't want to put in the time and the effort into doing that, then you are probably not going to make a friend, or you're probably not going to find, a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Like, it's not going to come to fruition because your energy is not allowing it to. A couple of the ways that I found that I have made friends is definitely through work and going to events and meeting people and just honestly walking up to people and introducing yourself. What is the worst thing that could happen? They say no. They say hi, give you an eye roll, and then walk away. Like, okay, fuck you. Why do you want to be friends with someone who doesn't want to be your friend? And this goes back to my theory of the 6 people you probably shouldn't be friends with anymore. Why do you want to be friends with someone who does not want to be friends with you? I don't want to be friends with someone who doesn't want to be friends with me. I don't want to be around someone that doesn't want to spend time with me. I don't want to be around someone that doesn't respect me. Obviously, so easier said than done. And I can imagine that if you've built something with someone and then all of a sudden they don't want to be friends with you, you're like, well, what the fuck happened? But at the end of the day, why do you want to have a relationship with someone who doesn't want one with you? It's not fun. It's not exciting. It's not respectful. That person then becomes all 6 of the friends that you probably shouldn't have in your life anymore. I want people that love me. I want the people that surround me to care about me, to respect me, to get excited when they hang out with me. When you just go and hang out with one of your friends and you're just like, hi, I'm so happy to see you. I'm so excited to be here with you. That is the only type of energy that I want with my friends. Let's talk about making friends in our 20s. There has to be a proactive person because we're all up in our heads thinking like, oh, this person doesn't want to hang out with me. Oh, this person does not want to. I'm just being annoying right now. No, you're not. I promise you that is your ego and your fear talking to you, when in actuality, it just takes one of you to say, hey, let's go do this. And it takes one of you to plan something and be the proactive one to actually go and do something together. So I've definitely made friends with a couple of my neighbors. I have made friends with the gym that I had gone to. I went to a HIIT gym and I was there consistently at the same time almost every single day, and I made a couple of friends from that. So joining a class, whether that is a workout class or a educational class, whatever it may be, I think is such an amazing way to make friends, especially if you are there consistently, because you are going to find that there is going to be another person that is also going to be taking that same class or doing that same thing consistently as well. And right off the bat that you have bonded by just being there at the same time, doing the same thing. I'm making a good assumption that if you're going to go take a pottery class every Thursday at 8 p.m., that the person who you meet there or the people that you meet there are taking the class or taking that pottery class because they also enjoy pottery or they also wanted to learn something new. Another way to make friends is, as I mentioned before, being proactive, actually doing things, actually getting yourself out there. We are all working from home, most of us now after COVID times. And it's the same thing when it comes to dating, that comes to friendships. If we want to build on our friendships and create new friendships, we need to actually put ourselves out there. One of my friends, my friend Ange, who we talked to last week in my podcast, she was my very first guest on the podcast. I actually met her through TikTok. She wasn't a creator back then. Like, she had just, I think, posted some things about New Jersey. And whenever I see anybody in Monmouth County, New Jersey, I'm like, oh, you're from New Jersey too? Do you want to be friends? I know that sounds so cliche or silly, but like genuinely, every time I see someone from Monmouth County, New Jersey, I'm like, do you want to be friends? You live in this area, you're around the same age as me, you like the same things as me, let's be friends. Of course, there needs to be that, that little thing that just clicks, right? That little spark, so to speak, that friendship spark that starts the conversation. But I think at the end of the day, both friends, both people in this friendship need to have this proactiveness. But of course, that initial proactiveness comes from someone who says, okay, let's hang out, or hey, let's go have dinner together, let's have coffee together. There is that initial proactiveness that has to happen. And why not let it be you? And if someone doesn't want to be your friend, then I wouldn't want to be their friend either. As I started to create more boundaries for myself and focus a lot more on my goals, my dreams, my things, the people that I surrounded myself with was so incredibly important. And it didn't need to be, I had 20 best friends or, 30 acquaintance friends or friends that I would just hang out with all the time. All of my friendships have developed differently, and there's you have different friends for different things. I've always wanted that one best friend. That best friend that was everything. The best friend that I could have a good time with, the best friend I could talk to boys about, the best friend that I could share all my deepest, darkest secrets with, and the best friend that I know would be there for me through and through. There is this amazing TikToker. Her name is Hello Hayes, and she came up with this theory called the 6 besties theory. And I absolutely love this theory because she puts into perspective that you don't need to have one bestie for absolutely everything. And it's a perfect description of where I'm at with my circle of friends as I'm approaching 30. Your friends don't need to fill or check the boxes of every single thing that you need or are looking for in a friend. I personally have a friend that I would go to if I have relationship issues. There's somebody that I would go to if I wanted to just go get a drink and have a good time. There's another friend that I would go to talk about work and struggles with my career. There are certain people for certain different things. Now, Hello Hayes' theory involves 6 different besties. And these besties include the dead body bestie, who is that person that you would go to if you are in a shit situation and you need help now. And you know that this person is not going to judge you. They're not going to think anything of you. They're your ride or die. Then you have a good time bestie. Now, this person is the good time bestie, the person that you're going to call if you want to go on an adventure, go on a trip, go try a new restaurant, go have just a good time. You have the work bestie, which is self-explanatory, having someone to be able to talk to work about. This one for me is interesting because I obviously work from home, so is my work bestie my boyfriend who also works from home? And then you have the similar ambition bestie. And this person is someone who has a similar ambition to you, who has similar goals, a similar path in life, someone you can talk to about your goals, about your dreams, about your aspirations. And you guys are on the same wavelength with that and on the same path, so to speak. Then you have the OG bestie, which is the original bestie of all time. Maybe you guys still have contact, maybe you don't. It's that person that you can call and you haven't talked to them in a couple weeks, but the conversation just basically goes to this place of like you talked to them yesterday. Like nothing has changed. You guys are still OG besties. You've grown up with this person and you have known this person for a really long time. They're the GOAT, they're the OG. And then the sixth bestie is your North Star bestie. This is the bestie that just gets you and you just get them. Like everything flows, everything's in line. Like I would almost call this like your twin flame bestie. But I like North Star better because twin flame can kind of be a little on the negative side in some ways, a little toxic in some ways. This is not that. This is you just get each other. It's like the telepathy. Now, I love this theory because she talks about how you could have all six of these besties, multiple of these six besties, or you could have a couple of besties or a couple of friends who check the boxes of, you know, maybe they're your North Star bestie, but they're also your work bestie and they're also your good time bestie. Or maybe your good time bestie is also your dead body bestie. So we have different friends for different areas of our life or different chapters in our lives. And maybe at some point your good time bestie becomes your OG bestie. It's so important to note that we are going through so many transitions and changes in life as we grow older, change jobs, move, invite new people into our lives, that our friends are going to be a part of our lives in one way or a different way as those changes in both of our lives take place. Now, it's important to note that all of these besties that Hello Hayes mentions, but also all of the people that I refer to as the friends in the circle that surround me are people who respect me, love me, and appreciate me for who I am. They want to see me do better in life. They want to see me do well in life. Your besties or your friends or the people that you surround yourself with should not make you feel less of a person than who you are. Just like your family and just like your relationships, your friends should make you feel loved for exactly who you are. And if they don't, then that's a question that you have to ask yourself. If this is a person that you want to keep around and keep in your circle. The people that I have slowly stopped being friends with, or friendships that have kind of faded away, there are kind of a bunch of things that reign true for those friendships, whether it's multiple of these or one or the other. So this is kind of my, I guess, not best friend theory. Like, you are not my best friend. With full inspiration from Hello Hayes. This is my friend theory on friends you probably shouldn't be friends with anymore. We have the shameful friend. This is a friend that in every choice that you make and everything that you share with them, they shame you or make you feel bad for a choice that you made or a mistake that you made. I had a friend who we were kind of going in opposite directions. She was getting much closer to her religion, and I was getting much farther away from that same religion. And I would talk to her about the guys that I was dating and people that I was seeing and the things that would happen. And whenever something sexual came into the conversation, I felt very shamed for being a very sexual person and being very open with that part of me, especially in dating. Feeling shamed for the choices or even mistakes that you've made, it feels like shit. It doesn't feel good. And I don't believe that the shameful friend has any place in your life. It doesn't feel safe to have a shameful friend. You go to your friends to confide in them, to have a friend. I just picture in my head us holding hands and skipping along the path and being supportive of each other. And I don't want someone to shame me for mistakes that I've made or for choices that I make that may not be choices that they would make, because we're still, at the end of the day, we might be friends, but we still are two completely different people. The second friend is the one-upper friend. Ooh, this friend can never be happy for anything that happens to you. They can never be happy for anything that happens. They can never be sad for anything happens. They don't have any sort of empathy towards you. And that's positive empathy or not so great empathy. This is the friend that always seems to have to shove a little comment in there when you're I'm having a great day. And they're well, I'm having a better day. Or if you're having a not so good day, their day is so much worse. I don't think I've ever had a friend like the one-upper friend, but I definitely dated people who are one-uppers. And it is such a horrible feeling to be in this relationship, friendship, relationship, whatever it may be, with someone who always feels the need to discredit or devalue what you're feeling, whatever it is in that moment, and chime in saying that they're doing worse or they're doing better or their project was better than yours. Oh, well, you got an A, well, I got an A+. That is not a friend that I want to keep around me. That is not a person that I want to keep around me. To not have someone who can just be empathetic towards a situation that I may be experiencing, or to be excited about a situation that I'm experiencing, it's a no-go. I don't want to be around that person. The third friend is the bad influence friend. Now, this one is pretty explanatory, but this is a friend who does things that go against your values. And I'm talking to the extreme, because we need to come to a place of accepting that we are us, I am me, you are you, and they are they. We are all completely different people, and we do value different things. Is it more difficult to have relationships, especially significant other type relationships, with people who have different values than us? Yes, because our relationships rely on those values at the core. But I think that it's possible. I have so many friends who value different things than me, whether that's they value their religion more than I do, they value and respect certain things more than I do. But there's just this fence, so to speak, of influences and values that I absolutely cannot condone or be friends with someone who has those certain values. Kindness is so incredibly important to me, and being kind to other people is so incredibly important to me. So I can confidently tell you that most, if not all of my friends have that value at their core. But I also do have some people that I surround myself with who maybe that's not a priority for them. Kindness is not at the top of their priorities, but it's still in there. There is still this need or want to be a kind person. The fourth one is the jealous friend. Now, I am sure, unfortunately, but I am sure that we've experienced the jealous friend. This is similar to that of the shameful friend, where this person just can't be happy for you, can't be excited about what's going on in your life. There's this energy of envy that they wish they could be you, that they wish they could have all of the things that you have. So there's not this genuinity of I'm happy for you or I appreciate you coming from their end because they wish they had what you did. There's a mutual respect in between friends where I respect you for where you are and who you are and what you do. And I would hope that that's reciprocated. Now, there are going to be moments where we may feel a tinge of jealousy towards another person. Here's a really good example, actually, and this is coming from me. I was in a friendship with someone, and there was jealousy on both sides at different points. And I think something that's really important when it comes to all of these friends and all of these feelings that we receive is that if we are self-aware of them and we are self-aware of how we're feeling, we can look back at ourselves and ask ourselves, okay, well, why are you feeling this way? So one of my friends and I stopped being friends because I felt a lot of jealousy coming from her end, in that she didn't want her boyfriend to be around me. She didn't want me, speaking to him. It was very, very odd. But I felt this really bad energy coming from it, and this jealousy energy. And it was very, very obvious that things had changed when she had met this person. She ended up moving in with him, and it seemed like he was taking care of a lot of the bills and a lot of the financial parts of their relationship. And I felt this little tinge of jealousy coming from my end. When I reflected on that, I'm like, I'm feeling this little bit of jealousy because I am not in this position where I have someone taking care of those things for me. And I'm in a place where I'm struggling financially a little bit. So that jealousy, that envy is coming out of me because I want what she has, because that would make my life easier. But after reflecting on that bit of jealousy that I felt as that, relationship was starting to crumble between us, I realized that what she has may work for her and her relationship, but that's not how I want my relationship to look like. That's not what I want. I don't want someone that's just going to take care of me. I want to be able to take care of myself, make my own moolah, and contribute to my household. And that's just a value that I have for myself. So I realized that my jealousy wasn't coming from this place of anger or really anything towards her. It was just coming from this place of lack from myself. It's so important to be self-aware of our own place in our friendships and understand our feelings. And doing that allows there to be respect in our friendships, a mutual respect in our friendships. If there's any type of friend that I have experienced in the past couple of years, it's these last two friends. I find that I'm very quick to leave the shameful, the one-upper, the bad influence, and the jealous friend out of my circle very quickly. But the last two I have the most difficulty with. But let me share those with you. We have the bad energy friend, and we have the ghost friend. Bad energy friend is the person who every time you spend time with this person, you get such bad energy. And to me, that comes off as like they're talking about other people. They always have something not so nice to say. It's just the energy that they exude is so negative. Now, I think some of our friends can, even ourselves, like we can be in this space of bad energy and just not doing well. Like we're in a chapter in our lives where things are not going great for us. And I've been in that place a lot where I know that if I'm not regulating and being extremely self-aware of how I'm saying things or what I'm saying, I could end up being that bad energy friend. But if we're self-aware of ourselves in any of these friendships, whether we exude the energy at some point of any of these friends, including the bad energy friend, or we exude some of the characteristics of these friends, as long as we are self-aware of that and we can kind of come clean and talk about how we're feeling, I think that's a different story. Now, there have been times where I've been in a really bad place and I've been honest with my friends, like, hey, I'm really not going to be fun to hang out with. I'm just not in a good place right now. I just need support right now. The issue is when there is a bad energy friend who doesn't realize that they are exuding bad energy. These friends are people who tend to speak badly about their other friends or speak badly about everyone and everything. There is never, or there is very rarely, a positive or a good moment. And every time you are hanging out with or talking to this person, they're always not in a good mood. Things are always not going well for them. I'm a very empathetic person, so to be around this type of person is very difficult for me. In the past, I've had some friends like this who I've had to kind of slowly distance myself from. And there are friends that I know I can only spend so much time with this person. And if you have energy sucking besties, like this bad energy bestie, you have an energy sucking bestie, similar to the bad energy bestie, but just sucks the energy and the life out of you. It is okay to set a boundary for yourself and only spend a certain amount of time with that person. And it's not like you need to voice this or say this, just duly noted in your head. Like note it in your brain that you can't hang out with this person for a long period of time. I think that the bad energy bestie and the energy sucking bestie, the vampire bestie, the vampire friend, those that suck your energy away. Maybe we're going to call this the vampire friend. The vampire. I think that it's still possible to be friends with the bad energy or the vampire friend, but it involves setting strict boundaries for yourself so that you can make sure that they aren't completely sucking all of your energy away. And it also involves other things like, what else are they bringing into your life? Are they still a good time? I personally have a good time bestie who is also a vampire bestie. So while I can be in this space with them and enjoy myself, I can only do it here and there, not all the time. And that leaves us with our last and final, maybe this shouldn't be your bestie. This is the ghost friend. This is that friend who I almost put it in the similar category as Hello Haze's OG bestie. Because I have a couple of friends who are an OG bestie, but they're also a ghost bestie. As life changes and as life evolves and as we go through different chapters and different parts of our lives, the ghost friend ends up being exactly that. It's this friend who you reconnect with, I would say even less than the OG bestie. But it's this friend that you always feel like you reach out to and it isn't reciprocated. And that doesn't happen with an OG bestie. The ghost friend is one who just seems like they disappeared. One who doesn't put even a little bit of effort into the friendship. The ghost friend is a tough one to decide whether or not this person is going to be part of your circle. I almost don't even think that they're a part of your circle. They're kind of like on the outside of your circle, like somewhere over here outside of like your core friend group or your core friends. The perfect description of the ghost bestie is it's someone you at one point were really, really good friends with. You talked all the time, you hung out all the time, and life just became life. And you sense that there is this push where you feel for a long time that you've been putting effort into this friendship, but it's not being reciprocated. You're calling this person, you're texting this person, you're trying to keep this friendship alive, and it's not being reciprocated. I tend to see that the ghost friend is a friend that doesn't live in the same area as you anymore. Like one of you moved away, and this is like a long distance friend. It is very difficult to have friends that are long distance. It's difficult to do anything long distance because there needs to be more energy involved in that friendship in order to make those plans, in order to connect that way, in order to set time aside to, connect with someone. Sometimes it just kind of sits there like a ghost. Like it just kind of like it's stagnant. Sometimes it comes around, sometimes it doesn't. But that is the ghost friend. Let me know what you think about my 6 quote unquote, maybe these should not be your friends anymore, besties. I loved this podcast episode today. I feel as though you have gotten to know me a little bit better with my friendships and how I grew up and how I kind of view friendships now. I think it's so important to me to, and it should be so important to you, to want to surround yourself with good people, with people who care about you and love you and appreciate you for who you are, and vice versa. I protect my peace in my friendships now. Drama is not something that I come across in my friendships, and if there is even a little ounce of drama and it's not communicated and it's not spoken about honestly and genuinely, then that person isn't for me anymore. And that's okay. Life changes, we go through different chapters, and it is what it is. And our friendships change as we go about this path we call life. Let me know what you think about these friend theories, and let me know if you guys want to talk more about advice or things that you guys are going through in your own friendships, because I'd love to chat more about that here, as I think it would be really interesting to cover. Thank you so much for tuning into the Self-Love Archives podcast. As always, make sure to check out my Instagram and my TikTok for more sneak peeks and little snippets of what's coming up on the podcast. I appreciate you all so much for being here. And don't forget that you are my friend too. So do not hesitate to reach out and say hello. I'll see you here next time, same time, Sundays, 12 o'clock Eastern time. Bye.